You're listening to Radio DePaul. I'm Connor Mudd, and this is Tom Talks. Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Tom Talks. I'm your host, Connor Mudd. With me today is a very special guest to talk about Tom Cruise's 8th film, Top Gun. The special guest is an international student from Brazil. She's the president of the DePaul Activities Board, and she once met the 1975 on accident. I don't know if it was on accident. It might have been on purpose. But give a warm welcome to Natalia Levi-Martini, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Hi.
I always say like half your last name, and I never know which half I should say.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it was kind of dumb because in the beginning, I started using my first last name, which is Levi, but then it's hard for people to say it. And then I realized I should have gone with Martini because it's so much easier, and I can say
everyone knows how to say Martini.
like the drink, you know? It's like so easy to explain, but whatever. I'm already done that. So.
Whatever anyone says.
Honestly,
because I like Martini. Like it's a cooler last name too.
I know, right? And I could
Levi is cool, but like Martini's great.
I know, right? I could build a whole brand around it. You know.
See, I get stuck with Mudd.
I like Mudd though. Mudd's fun.
It's fun. My personal brand that I put on all of my business cards and whatever is Clarity through Mudd, and I think it's funny.
Bro, I know.
But, I don't know how employers feel about it yet. I'm waiting.
Well, I like it.
Yeah. Well, so you met the 1975. How did that happen?
Yeah. So it was by accident, actually. My best friend and I, we were in New York because we were looking into universities, touring them and everything. And I got into a university in New York. And so we're there for the 2 days. Mm-hmm. And we toured the university on the first day. The second day, we didn't have anything to do. And I followed the 1975 on Twitter, and they tweeted that they were going to be in like this venue at this time. They were like, everyone, please stop by. We want to meet you all. And we're like, okay, like, let's go. But when we got there, it was like about 30 minutes before it started. It was the hugest line. Like, it was so long. Wow. And we're like, we're not going to do this. Whatever, it's fine. But they weren't in the venue yet, so we're like, okay, let's wait for them and maybe we can like run into them. I don't know. But then we were standing by the back door because we're like, they're probably gonna like get in through the venue through here, right?
Yeah.
But then out of a sudden, literally we're not expecting it. The line someone like one of the security people from the venue moved where the line started. And then they moved the line from the front door to the back door. And so we were the first people on the line out of like nowhere. And we were just standing there and people were like lining up behind us. And we're like, what is going on? But we didn't say anything. And so we were the first people and we went in and we met them. It was like this room. It was all pink because of their new album at that time. And it was so cool.
Yeah. I know because I had Evan in last week. He was talking about the 1975. What is your favorite 1975 song?
I don't know. Everyone doesn't like chocolate, but I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to listen to more of them. I've only listened to like a few of their songs, but I really need to dive deep into their discography. What would you recommend?
My favorite album is the one that has the big name. It's like, I like it when you're asleep, for you're so beautiful, yet so unaware of it. Something like that. It's super long, but it's their best one, I think.
Yeah.
They have a new song that's really good too.
Yeah.
I forgot the name.
When did it come out? Like,
I don't know.
Last year?
Maybe like a month ago or a little bit less, but it's super recent.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So you're from Brazil. Carnival is coming up. It's like next month. Are you doing anything in the city or are you going back home?
I don't really know yet. Well, I'm not going back home until after finals. So I'm going home for spring break this year because I'm paying for it myself.
Good.
Because I have a job and everything. So that worked out. Super happy about it. But right now I'm looking for parties to go to celebrate Carnival, like Brazilian parties. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
There's one, because I'm in my Brazil class, there's one in Logan Square that supposedly it's run by, I don't know what his title is, but he's like the Brazilian consulate or something like that.
Wait, the Brazilian consul? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And I think they're running a super big carnival party in Logan Square. I don't know. It's it does fall on NACA though, so that's
Aw.
yeah. For the listeners at home, Natalia and I are going to a conference in like 2 weeks, which is going to be super fun. But it's
Very
the same
exciting.
day as
Yeah.
that, so I can't go to it because I'm in that class where I would have
yeah.
gotten free admission. But it's fine. I'll
It's
go
okay.
another year.
We'll figure another one out.
We'll host a small carnival.
There you go.
in Denver with the
There
with
you
the
go.
conference.
I'm down.
Yeah, there's plenty of like dancers and things at NACA that would probably be willing
You're right.
to like we'll form our own little samba school and like
Yes, please. Can we?
we'll get who are those carnival people? The Great Dubois or whatever?
The who?
Oh, the people with the ring and the acrobatics. I get emails from them all the time.
Oh my gosh! Wait, you might be right.
Oh,
Is it Dubois? Yeah,
Dubois,
something like that. Yeah.
But like they keep sending me emails, and I'm like, we're not gonna bring a
Oh my
circus
gosh.
to campus, but
Emails.
I'll watch them. They're
Right?
very entertaining.
No, they were good. They were good.
Yeah. Cool. So we worked together on Dab.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I know everything about Dab. I don't need to ask for updates or upcoming events or anything. I don't even know. We have a meeting. We can advertise that to the 5 listeners at home. We have a meeting on Monday. That's it.
Yes, we do. If anyone's interested in joining DAB, you can come to our general board meeting. It's at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Monday. In the student center, 3rd floor, room
315.
315.
Our signs and our posts were incorrect before. Now
Yes,
they are corrected.
now they're correct.
It's fine.
There you go.
Yeah.
We fixed it. It's okay.
All right. Well, we should probably talk a little bit about Tom Cruise because
Probably.
this is Tom Talks.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I have 3 Tom Cruise questions that I ask every single guest. First,
Okay.
what is your favorite Tom Cruise movie?
Oh gosh. I'm not like a huge Tom Cruise fan, so I don't think I've watched many, but I don't know if it's my favorite, but the one that I most like the one that like makes me think of him is Mission Impossible, obviously.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one is a lot better than the second one.
Than all the other ones.
I think that the third one has its place, but because it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, I know it's not as good as the original.
It's okay.
I do love the
But
original.
The first one is really good. I really liked it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next thing, what is the most Tom Cruise thing that you have ever done?
What?
Like, Tom Cruise is known for like riding motorcycles, doing things that are dangerous,
Right.
putting on masks, going to eccentric parties. What is the most Tom Cruise thing that you've ever done?
Honestly, I have no idea. I rode a motorcycle once
Yeah.
without a license.
Oh.
But it was in a closed space, so I guess it was fine.
How? What do you mean a closed space?
It was like, so.
Like a parking lot?
No, in Brazil, we have like condominiums a lot.
Okay.
Like those are really popular. So it was inside a condominium. So it was like a restricted area where people live. So only the people that live can like access it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It's like a closed street type of thing.
Okay.
So it was like inside there. So it was like not that bad.
Because I'm imagining like indoors, like a warehouse,
Oh, God,
like, with
no.
a roof overhead. I'm like, why were you riding a motorcycle through like indoors, but through like a condo facility? That makes more sense.
My best friend back home, one of my best friends back home, he has a motorcycle. And so he was like, oh, he was riding it, and I was like sitting with him while he rode it, and I was like, can I try it? And he was like, I don't know, because I didn't have a license at that point. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't know, like, should you? And I was like, I don't know. And then he let me try it. It was weird, but it was fun.
Yeah. Was he on the back then?
No, he was just scared. He was like,
Like I don't want to be a part of that.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh.
I was like, what?
That's pretty funny. I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle. Well, kind of. I want to ride like a Vespa. I don't think I'm cool enough to ride a motorcycle.
What?
You know?
I think you could pull it off.
I feel like I would be super funny on a Vespa, right?
You would. No,
'Cause
that's definitely
so
your
small
friend.
and just like
Yes.
I'd look
No.
like a Waluigi from Mario Kart when he gets on any motorcycle.
Wait, actually, yeah.
Wouldn't fit me,
I
but
can
it'd be
see
fun.
that.
Yeah, my stepdad rides a motorcycle, but he's like, you've seen him, I think, maybe. I
Have
don't
I?
remember. He's very
I don't
tall.
know.
He's like
I don't
6'6",
think
so he had to buy an extra large motorcycle. Yeah, there's like one company that he liked that had very large motorcycles, so he would only buy those. Tom Cruise does not need extra large motorcycles. He's a very small man.
Wait, that's what I heard.
Yeah, he's 5'7".
Yeah, I'm 5'6".
He's only an inch taller than you.
Yeah,
And
isn't that crazy?
this is one of the first movies where he wears lifts. Top Gun is one of the first movies where he wears lifts so that he looks like a tall-ish guy.
Funny.
Because his romantic interest, I think, is like 5'10". And so they put 3.5-inch lifts, so he was at least a half-inch taller than her.
The blonde girl, right? With like short hair.
Yeah.
I remember her.
I'll talk all about Kelly McGillis in a little bit. The next bit is a segment that we do with everyone. I give you 1 minute, and in case Tom Cruise ever listens to this, you have 1 minute to say whatever you've ever wanted to say to Tom Cruise. Any message, anything that you would ever want to tell him, you can tell him in this minute.
Okay.
Your minute begins now.
Okay. Hi, Tom Cruise. Honestly, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not that huge of a fan, but you're very nice, I think. You're a good actor. I'll give you that. Doing your own stunts, very cool. Yeah. Honestly, I don't have anything else to say. That was 40 seconds. 20 seconds. I don't know. I feel like Tom Cruise has a very specific brand and with like action movies. And honestly, those are the only action movies I watch. Like I don't watch anything besides that. I feel like, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of action movies because that's not my style. But the ones that I watch, I feel like Tom Cruise is in them. I don't know. So yeah, that's a win for you, I guess. Good job. Yeah, that's it.
That was about a minute.
Okay, there you go.
So you don't watch like any other action movies?
Not really, unless my dad likes action movies and war movies. So when I'm sitting with him, like in our living room or something, then he's watching it and I'm just like listening while I do something else. But not really.
No. I mean, he does have some very good action films. He has some bad action films too. But I think some of his good ones outweigh some of his bad ones. We've talked in the past. You liked Oblivion, I think. We mentioned.
No, yeah, that was a good one.
That was an interesting one. Have you seen like Edge of Tomorrow, one of his recent action films?
I did, yes, because my dad wanted to see it, so I watched it with him. Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought it was really repetitive. Because I kept going over and over the same thing. At some point, I was like, can we get over with this already?
Yeah.
Like, I already watched this 20 times. But it was cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It's like it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's that same thing.
Exactly the same thing, yeah.
Yeah. I'm planning a movie marathon for Groundhog Day, which is coming up, actually. I should actually schedule that movie marathon. Because there's like 5 movies with that same exact concept.
Oh, wow.
Happy Death Day is a horror movie version of it.
Right. Through Dab, we took people to see that for free.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
That was one of the first events I worked. I took photos of that event.
There you go.
And then what else was there? There's a Netflix original movie Naked, which is like a romantic comedy where a dude wakes up on his wedding day. He's like passed out naked in an elevator, and he keeps waking up passed out naked in an elevator as each day ends.
What?
Yeah. It's, that's
funny.
It's got I always forget his name, but it's the guy from the Allstate commercials. The You're in Good Hands guy.
No
He plays
way.
the dad of the bride. So he's like super disappointed that his new son-in-law keeps showing up naked to his daughter's wedding.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny. It's comedic, to say the least. But yeah, it'll be a weird... And then there's, of course, the Netflix original Dollhouse? Russian Doll. Russian Doll is what it's called.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
That one's dark. Very twisty.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Well, we are going to go into a little bit of a commercial break, but then after the commercial break, we will play a game, and we'll talk about Top Gun.
Okay.
So it'll be a fun experience. So stay tuned after a word from our sponsors. And we are back. You're listening to Radio DePaul. I'm Connor Mudd. This is Tom Talks, and I'm here with Natalia Levi Martini. Is it Levi Martini?
Yes.
Cool. Apparently, today is Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't check the calendar, and apparently we're in for an early spring also.
Yes,
which,
I needed that.
If you've been outside in Chicago today, it's obvious to see that we're
Pretty
in an
nice.
early spring. Because what is it, 50 degrees?
Yeah.
I wore a jacket. I didn't need a jacket. I'm looking at us. We're matching.
Wait, we are.
I know.
What? Okay, we'll take a picture.
I
of
was
this.
wearing white sneakers earlier today. I know that this is radio and people can't see us, but we were both wearing like forest green tealish tops with light blue jeans, and I was wearing white sneakers earlier, and she is wearing white sneakers now. Yeah, but that's phenomenal. It is springtime-ish, almost. So we are going to play a game. This game is called Call Sign or Comic. Basically, in Top Gun, all of the characters are designated call signs because they're all Navy pilots. Like Tom Cruise's call sign is Maverick. So I'm going to say something, and you're going to have to tell me if it is a Top Gun call sign from the original Top Gun movie, or if it is a superhero or supervillain from Pop Culture Monster's 27 lamest superheroes and villains.
Okay.
So you're going to have to guess, and then I'll tell you either who the actor was whose call sign that was, gotcha, or what that villain is and like where the villain or hero is from.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start. Goose.
Oh, call sign.
Yes. Yeah, that's Anthony Edwards. It is like the main guy. Let's go with Jester.
Superhero?
Also a call sign, actually.
What?
Yeah.
I remember that one.
It's Michael Ironsides. He's like one of the bosses. He's like their commander's commander, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
What about Walrus?
Superhero?
Yeah. He's a member of the Defenders, I believe.
What?
Marvel's Defender. Yeah, he's a walrus man. He's a man with the powers of a walrus.
What powers does a walrus have?
Just tusks, nothing else.
Okay.
A dude with tusks. Definitely
sure.
not exciting. Stinger.
Superhero?
It's a call sign.
What?
It's James Tolkien. I don't remember where he's like one of the guys in the locker room, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is
whatever.
You know, he is what he is.
Okay.
Black Condor.
I don't know. Call sign?
Supervillain. Or hero. I don't actually know. He was hard to tell. I think he's like an anti-hero, but he glows gold. He's shirtless and he flies using a magical cape.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they call him the Black Condor. Fiddler.
Superhero?
Yep. He looks like a leprechaun and has a magical fiddle. It's terrible. He's terrible.
Okay.
Whizzer.
Call sign?
No, but I feel like Wizard would be a good call sign. But Whizzer is a guy who can kind of run really fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Flash?
He is... Oh, no. There's a Fiddler is actually a Flash villain. Whizzer is, I think, a Marvel hero. I don't know. He's like Marvel's Flash, I suppose.
Okay.
How about Merlin?
Call sign?
Yeah, that's the one from like the first 5 minutes of the movie. We'll do.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about
We'll
the
do
movie.
we'll do a few more. Wolfman.
Oh, superhero?
Call sign.
Call
also,
sign?
I'm sure there is a superhero, but it's not on
for sure.
the 27 lamest, according to. And I would not recommend this article. This article is very problematic, but it was a comprehensive list of some pretty bad comic book characters. So I was like, yeah, this works. Like the ones who would never even be considered as a call sign are like the dog welder. He's a villain who welds dogs to people's faces. That's his whole power. I don't know how he does that.
Very creepy.
Yeah, or like Asbestos Lady, who is a villain for the Human Torch.
Okay.
Because asbestos is fireproof. That's her whole. That's her whole gimmick, is that she is fireproof, so the Human Torch can't attack her. We will do 2 more.
Okay.
Sportsmaster.
Call sign?
It is a superhero or a supervillain whose powers are like vaguely sports related. So like all of his plots are like I'm going to ski down this mountain and then kill you.
Okay.
Yay. Yeah, he's really
Weird.
strange. And Sundown.
Call sign.
Yeah, that
Yay.
one makes sense. I wasn't keeping score, but you are a winner. You win this game, whatever that may
Yay.
mean. But congratulations, you're the first winner
thank
of
you.
call sign or comic. I like call signs. My phone and laptop and iPad and old phone are all named after Top Gun call signs.
Really?
Yeah, my phone device name is Maverick. My laptop's device name is Viper because Viper is Maverick's commander.
Yeah.
My old phone that I have sitting in a junk drawer somewhere is Goose because Goose is dead. Spoiler alert.
He died, right?
Yeah, Goose is dead. And then I forget what it is. I have my iPad is Charlie.
I don't remember Charlie.
Charlie is the love interest.
Oh.
Yeah. So we can get going into some synopses. So when was the last time you saw Top Gun?
I don't even remember what year it was, but it was a couple years back.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
But I did back in high school. I was in speech and debate, and I did for 1 week a duo interpretation. So it was me and a buddy of mine, and we did a version of the script. We acted it out for a competition. We lost very poorly because we broke every rule.
Oh no!
Well,
what?
Almost intentionally.
Gotcha.
Because in speech and debate, you're not allowed to look at your partner. You're also not allowed to touch your partner. So we held scripts in our hands because we were allowed to, and basically we would poke each other and do stuff with the scripts and say, "I'm not touching you." Some judges didn't like that, and also we would do stunts, and then he would accidentally touch me, and we'd be like, "Well, okay,
Well,
that's not gonna work." Yeah, so we failed at that, but I used to have the full opening monologue memorized because I had to say it every time I rehearsed it. I don't anymore. I wish I did because it's a pretty it's pretty I'm not gonna say beautiful. It's memorable.
Yeah, for sure. Memorable.
I also didn't know that this was based on a news piece about the actual Top Gun school because I always forget that there's a real Top Gun school.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, and I have some fun facts about the real Top Gun school a little bit later. But so for the synopsis, it begins on a aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise, which sounds familiar because of Star Trek. And they get notification that there is a MiG or a bogey, one of those weird military terms that they use in this military recruitment film, because that's what it is at its core. So they see an unregistered airplane in their airspace, and they send out 2 pilots to go get it. And I believe that there's more than they expected. I think there's about 3 of them. And Maverick and Goose, who are flying in one plane, and then Merlin and Cougar are in the other plane. And they are flying to dispatch, to try and get the MiGs out of the area. And Tom Cruise as Maverick flies upside down over one of them, flips his middle finger, and they take a photo, which is frowned upon in the military, but it's a pretty cool shot of 2 airplanes upside down. And then Cougar, or Merlin, no, Cougar, who's the pilot, gets super sick and scared because he realizes his own mortality while in the plane. And he is not flying back to the aircraft carrier, and his co-pilot can't do anything because he's just the gunner in the gunner seat. And Maverick is about to touch down on the aircraft carrier, and he's hearing that Cougar and Merlin are still out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And so he touches down for a half second and leaps back up, and then he goes and talks Cougar off of the edge of wherever he was mentally, gets him to land safely. They're both dangerously low on fuel, and it costs the Navy a lot of money. And so Tom Cruise is going to get punished, but Cougar was going to be part of this special training school called Top Gun. And now his spot is open. And Tom Cruise is the next best pilot they got, so they're sending him to Top Gun Academy. This is, the more I think about this movie, the more I'm like, this is pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's a romp from this point on until the death. It's a romp with some dark moments. So he goes to Top Gun Academy and immediately makes enemies with Iceman, played by Val Kilmer, who is, he's young and attractive in the 80s. He's less of that now. I think Tom Cruise aged a lot better than Val Kilmer.
Oh, definitely. I saw a picture of him this morning, and right? He doesn't look good.
Like, he's also going to be in the new Top Gun movie that's coming out later this year.
Oh, he is?
He is. I don't know, like, to what extent he's reprising his role of Iceman. I'm kind of assuming that it's going to be, like, he's in the opening scene and then he dies, and Iceman's funeral makes it so that, like, Maverick is brought back into this world of dogfighting. This is my guess.
Oh, you think so?
I haven't read anything. I've seen, like, only the teasers. So
I didn't see it.
Based only on teaser trailers, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Iceman's going to die, but Iceman was like a former instructor, and now they need a new instructor, so they call on Maverick, because Maverick was like the second best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he makes enemies with Iceman and Iceman's crew, and they go to a bar, and there is a woman sitting at the bar. Little do they know that she is a consultant who was about to come in and train them on some things. But so he and Goose, Maverick and Goose, like try to seduce the woman, but Goose is happily married, so Goose is just being the wingman, which is this is like the origin of wingmen. And they sing "Lost That Lovin' Feeling." I forget who that's by. That's by I have it somewhere. You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers, which is not like a phenomenal serenade song.
Not really.
But after they finish serenading her, because they only do the first verse, the rest of the bar takes over. That's one of my favorite moments, when like they give up the microphone and a bunch of random people keep singing the song they started, and they just walk away like nothing happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? How is nobody commenting? Nobody cares that they just broke into song in this bar full of like Navy people in uniform. I've never been to a Navy bar. It could be like that every night for all I know.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Let's find a Navy bar.
Let's do it.
Let's go find that. So he goes and he hits on this woman, and she like kind of brushes him aside, and they see each other the next day at training. And he reveals that he's the one who went inverted over one of the new MiGs. He's one of the only people who's seen them up close, and so he has very special intel about the enemy. But up until like the final sequence of the movie, they're not fighting whoever they're fighting in whatever war this is. What was the war in the 90s?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't even know if like it was the actual like war that was happening in the night. Like, I don't even know.
Was it
they
just
don't
like
say
Cold
anything.
War
I don't
or
think.
something?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Right?
They don't actually say anything about it, I feel like.
Yeah. Because I like assume they're Russians, but they never really go into that. They don't explain anything. But so the rest of the this sequence is them training pretty much. So they're learning different maneuvers and everything, and doing exercises. And Maverick is hot-headed and breaks all the rules because he is a maverick, like his name tells you. Yeah. And like, he gets in trouble a lot for it. They have exercises where their instructor will go out and like their instructor will pretend to be the enemy, and they have to work together with Iceman and Cougar, I think. And Maverick leaves Iceman and Cougar, and like Iceman yells at him in a locker room. Is like, "You never leave your wingman," which, definitely a big part of this movie is the extreme sexual tension of the movie between Iceman and Maverick, and Goose and Maverick, and Iceman and Cougar. I think it's Cougar. I might be wrong about Cougar. Stinger? No, not Stinger.
Isn't Cougar the one that leaves?
Cougar, you're right. Cougar's the one that dies. Slider. They all have there's so many nicknames.
So
Iceman and Slider doesn't even sound right.
No, Slider sounds right.
Is it Slider?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It might be. But I
Is it
think
Jester?
there's someone's
Yeah, we'll go with
name is
Slider.
Slider. Okay, sure.
We'll say it's Slider. So there is a point when Slider and Iceman are playing Maverick and Goose in a game of volleyball.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And
I remember that.
everyone is shirtless except Goose. Like, so you see like
Yes,
like young Val Kilmer shirtless, and there's like slow motion shots, and everyone's oiled up because the cinematographer was like, yes, today.
But
then
honestly,
Goose
they
is like,
all look sweaty all the time.
Right.
Like throughout the entire movie, they're all
Yeah.
sweating all the time.
it must, because it's San Diego. It's just hot all
that
the
makes
time in San
sense.
Diego,
But still,
right?
kind of weird.
Yeah. And so I just think it's funny that they didn't have Goose shirtless too. Goose is like in a white t-shirt. He's not sweating or greasy at all. He's just like having a good time on the beach. Yeah, so that happens at some point during all of this endless training. At some point also they go to a restaurant, him and Goose's wife and son come out, and you get to meet Goose's wife and Goose's son. And in the restaurant they also break into song. They play Great Balls of Fire in the middle of a restaurant in like midday in San Diego.
Okay.
Which, you know, this happens more in this movie than like almost any other Tom Cruise movie except Rock of Ages, where it is a musical, so they have to break out in song because it's, you know, part of the plot. But 2 song breaks sung by the characters in the movie in 2 separate bars. I don't know. This something always intrigued me about that, but also it's a little weird. I have been to the bar where that scene was shot. It's a barbecue restaurant. I didn't get to see the piano where they played Great Balls of Fire, but I did have their barbecue, and it is pretty mediocre.
Okay. Where is it?
In San Diego. It's right
Gotcha.
downtown. It's kind of near a train stop. You have to like go to a train stop and then walk around a long fence. If there's a gate through the fence, you could just cut right through, but you have to walk like 10 minutes around.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of Top Gun gear, like merch, but it's not good merch. It's like, we bought some cheap hats that said Top Gun was filmed here, and it has our bar name on the back. And the barbecue sauce was good, but the meat was like dry. And I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good pickles. But it's not what I needed. I know.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. Like good pickles on a mediocre
very
sandwich.
upsetting.
Yeah. But it was an interesting experience. Because they filmed a lot of the movie in San Diego, actually, because there's aircraft carriers all around there, big military town. So that happens at one point, and then during a training exercise later, I don't know if it's that same week, but I can, you know, the timeline of this show of the movie is like
weird.
a little funky. So they go, they're in a training exercise, and Goose and Maverick are wingmanning it for Iceman and Slider, again in another exercise. And Iceman and Slider are doing everything by the book, but everything by the book in this case makes it dangerous. And Maverick and Goose have to fly through their jet stream, and it messes with their engines, and then they spin out, and they start rotating and spinning and begin to crash, and they are able to pop the cabin off and eject through their ejector seats. And Maverick makes it out just fine, but Goose ejects out of the ejector seat and hits the canopy of the... I believe that's how he died. He hits the canopy and then falls into the ocean, and then the plane falls into the ocean. And, like, Maverick is there and, like, goes to Goose's body. It's a very dramatic moment where he's, like, swimming with Goose. And like trying to get him onto their rescue helicopter. So Goose dies, which is very sad because he's like the only character you see who's like married with a kid, and they do it just to like, you know, rip your heart out. You see his beautiful baby boy, and like, there goes Goose. And so Maverick is like, I'm never gonna fly, and they're like, you're the best fighter we have. And he continues training. Kind of, he gets an inspirational speech from Viper, who is his boss, who's like, your dad was a friend of mine, and he might have been rogue, but he cared about people. You care about people. It's something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing because I I don't know any of the quotes for that, but he basically talks Maverick out of his depression funk, and is like, "You're phenomenal. Show up to the graduation ceremony. You're still great. You are not the Top Gun." Iceman won that title because he does everything by the book, and he's cool. That's why he's the Iceman. And so he goes to like the ceremony, and at the ceremony they get like immediate intel about some more bogies or MiGs or whatever the word is, enemy planes, whoever the enemy may be, kind of in the area, and they deploy as many people as they can, like just at the graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird. And like they send him out, and in like the final moments of the movie, final-ish moments of the movie, Tom Cruise as Maverick like goes and joins Iceman, and like they fly and they fight in a big dogfight scene, and they reuse the same explosion shot like 4 times in the scene, and they end up like winning the dogfight. And then Iceman and Maverick like land their planes, and then like they look at each other, and Iceman's like looking angry. It looks like he's gonna say something really mean, and then he like smiles and says, "You can be my wingman anytime," and they like hug, which is great. Now, in this synopsis so far, I've kind of omitted all of Charlie. I don't know if you had noticed that, but like, it's not about the romance between Maverick and Charlie, because the romance between Maverick and Charlie has like one super good moment, and then the rest of it's like, it felt like they added it later.
Yeah.
Because the love sequence actually, what is the song that they play? It was nominated for an Oscar, one of the songs, and it was from that scene. Oh my God, why am I forgetting it? Oh my God, I'm mad at Take My Breath Away by Berlin.
Oh.
That was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. It's the only Oscar nomination that this movie had.
I believe that.
and it plays during a very tasteful sequence where like just the curtains like waft in, and you see the silhouettes of them doing the do for like 2 seconds, and then at other points in their romance, like he's riding his motorcycle and she chases him in like a Shelby Cobra, I think.
Right.
And then they make kind of, it feels like meaningless eye contact in like military briefing meetings. So it's like, I don't know. I never really bought their romance because it didn't feel strong. The romance between him and Goose, which is sure a bromance or whatever if we have to gender it, but it's really like they felt very close.
Yeah.
And she didn't, like, she tried to help him deal with the death of his best friend, but like there was no meaningful
really
emotional
fit
impact.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially like if it ends with him and another man like in a loving embrace. He's like, "You can be my wingman anytime," which certainly isn't coded language at all. It's definitely, it means exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
Not at all anything else. Yeah, there's a lot of scenes in this movie that take place in the showers, in the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like inside the planes and
yeah,
that whole action thing.
Yeah, and I like the plane shots. Because I think when it's like genuine flying, it's really cool. And Tom Cruise, I think, knows how to fly a fighter plane, and he might fly a plane in the new one.
That would be really cool.
He didn't in this one, like, actually, but in the new one, I think he'll fly at least one of the planes.
That would be cool.
Probably not the fighter jet, but one of them, because he flew an American made. He has, I mean, now 3 airplane movies.
Oh.
Yeah, American Made's very good if you ever get a chance. It's a true story based on a dude who sold cocaine.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's an interesting film. Yeah, but he loves doing stunts, and he rode in every plane that you see him in. He did have a stunt pilot actually, who was like specific to him. His name was Scott Altman, for this film, and he actually went on to be an astronaut, and he did like service work on the Hubble telescope and stuff.
What?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
In Top Gun, you'll see whoever's flying Maverick's plane is an astronaut.
That is crazy.
Which is a pretty it's a fun.
Can you
little
imagine
fact.
his resume?
Right? He's like, yeah, I worked with Tom Cruise, and you know,
I'm an astronaut.
Right?
No big deal.
I've worked on the Hubble telescope. And you're like, what? That you know,
crazy.
I would love to meet that guy. That would be
Me too. Maybe we can bring him to campus.
Yeah, I'll have him be a guest briefly.
Yes,
I'll have him on one of the sci-fi ones, one of the ones where Tom Cruise goes to space, like
Ooh.
Edge of Tomorrow, or he doesn't. He doesn't go to space in War of the Worlds, but he could.
Okay.
Because War of the I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like his alien movies, and it's just War of the Worlds and the other one. Yeah, but in the meantime, I can play. I will play a song. We'll listen to some advertisements because that's the movie. Am I missing anything? That's the real
I don't
question.
think so.
I feel like
Like that's the gist of it.
There is one scene where they say the phrase, "I feel the need for speed."
Oh yeah.
It's out of context. It's just like he says it to some dude on the landing pad.
But I feel like the most famous quote though is the one that he says in the beginning.
Which one?
What is it? It's like, oh my gosh, I just forgot. It's like his Tom Cruise's boss in the beginning when he's not even Top Gun yet. And he's like, oh, since this guy just died, now you and Goose are gonna like go to Top Gun. And then he says, son, your ego's writing checks, your body can cash.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's it.
Oh my god, I always forget about that.
I feel like that's the most famous one. It really is.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
I think because I didn't even look at all the quotes because I was like I couldn't cover all of the quotes.
And then I feel like
from this movie.
those two, and then the third one is like this one he says to Charlie, the girl, and he's like, oh, what was it? He's like right in when she walks in for the first time, and the guy's like, oh, she's a civilian, like don't salute her. And then she starts talking about planes. Oh, and then Tom Cruise or Maverick talks about like what he did with the plane. He like turned upside down, whatever. And he's like, it's a classified information. I could tell you, but I would have to kill you.
Yeah.
Like that's another one. I feel like those three are the top ones.
Yeah.
Like the ones that.
Then there's the one that I use one all the time. Instead of saying no, I'll say negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full, which is said I think twice.
What?
Because his plane I think is called Ghost Rider, which they never address.
I don't remember.
No one talks about that. But every time he requests a flyby, because this happens a few times when he just like flies by the tower at the Air Force Base, and he's like, "I'm requesting a flyby," and they say, "Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full," and then he does it anyways. Oh yeah, it's classified. I could tell you, but then I have to kill you. I'm like, the quote list is so long.
They have so many quotes in that movie. But those three are the ones that like I feel like everyone says or knows.
Yeah.
Because like even I watched it like a very long time ago and I still remember them.
Yeah.
Like, very...
And then also before he goes and meets the woman at the bar, Charlie, he says, "I think I'll go embarrass myself."
Oh,
there's a lot of fun little ones. Yeah. So we'll go into a song. We can play any song from the soundtrack. I'm feeling Great Balls of Fire, but I would also be open to the Oscar-nominated song. We should probably do the Oscar-nominated song.
Yeah, I feel like that one.
Yeah, Berlin is good. It is one of the, I think, 7 songs from Tom Cruise movies that have been recognized by any sort of award committee, and one of, I believe, 3 that was nominated for Best Original Song. So we should probably play it. I'll go ahead and play it, and then we'll go into some commercials. And when we come back, we will do some fast facts, a data breakdown, and a conclusion. All right, stay tuned. All right, and welcome back. You're listening to Radio DePaul. I'm Connor Mudd. This is Tom Talks. I'm here with Natalia Levi Martini. I love the Johnny's Beef ads. They're so much
They're
fun.
so funny.
Cool. We'll go into some fast facts. This movie was directed by Tony Scott, who also directed Domino and True Romance and Days of Thunder, which is also a Tom Cruise movie. It's what Talladega Nights was based off of.
Okay.
And Days of Thunder has DePaul alum John C. Reilly in it.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of 2 Tom Cruise films with John C. Reilly. The writers of this movie were Jim Cash and Jack Epps, who also together wrote Dick Tracy, Anaconda, and Turner and Hooch. I have not seen Turner and Hooch because, as I've covered like last week on last week's episode, I don't like Tom Hanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't really want to see him gallivanting with a dog just running around solving crimes. I don't really know how it works. I don't need to know.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie is played by Kelly McGillis, who was in Witness. And then, like, she kind of doesn't have a lot on her resume, but some funny things that are on her resume. Santa Bear's High Flying Adventure, and she was on the Buzz Lightyear TV show.
What?
Yeah. I don't know what Santa Bear's High Flying Adventure is, but I assume there's a bear who is also Santa, and I think she plays, like, Mrs. Claus. And then on the Buzz Lightyear TV show, she has like 1 episode, and she's credited as Gorgeous Woman. Like, that's her character name. That's it.
I feel bad for her.
I feel so bad for her. Iceman is Val Kilmer, who is, of course, in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Batman Forever. He is Batman in Batman Forever. He is arguably the worst Batman that has been Batman.
Okay.
But that's up for debate. Do you have a preference on who your favorite Batman is?
No, I don't really like Batman movies, honestly.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'm like fine with them, I guess.
Yeah, he was a weird one. Batman Forever was strange. But he also played the voice of God in Prince of Egypt and Moses. God and Moses.
Okay.
So that was, that's a
I
good...
like Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, it was a good film.
Yes.
Then Goose was Anthony Edwards, who was an ER designated survivor. He was also in Revenge of the Nerds. But he was also the only cast member who didn't vomit while they were doing the stunt flying.
Wow.
Every other cast member vomit while in the air. He was like, nope, I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
Right?
What a pro.
Yeah. It's probably because of the mustache. He didn't want any vomit on his mustache. Because Goose had the best mustache. I know I didn't mention that in the synopsis, but Goose's mustache was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Viper was played by Tom Skerritt. Skerritt with more letters than you'd expect to be in that name.
Okay.
2 R's, 2 T's.
That's
but
a lot.
he was in Alien, he was in Contact, and he was in MASH. He's got a good vibe about him. He looks like if Tom Selleck were skinny. That's it. That's how I describe Tom Skerritt, like Tom Selleck. Lots of Toms on Tom Talks. So Goose's wife, whose name is Carol, is arguably the second most famous person in this movie.
What?
Meg Ryan was Carol. Meg Ryan from When Harry Met Sally, from You've Got Mail, from Sleepless in Seattle. And if you look at her filmography, all of those movies have the same poster. I don't know. I thought I had it up. I guess I don't have it up. But all of those movies have like identical posters, which is very funny to see. So she plays generally the same character of like romantic interest in rom-com, but she's phenomenal in When Harry Met Sally. Sleepless in Seattle I haven't seen, nor have I seen You've Got Mail.
Good.
But see, I don't like Tom Hanks. And those are both Tom Hanks movies.
Yeah.
I know. Are you a Harry Potter fan?
Yes.
Yes? So there's a guy who is a military consultant for, like, he's a naval consultant for the movie, who in real life, his call sign is Viper. So they base the character of Viper on this guy, and he gets to be in the movie, just like briefly, whose name is actually Pete Pettigrew.
No way.
There is a real life Peter Pettigrew,
oh gosh.
and he's in this movie. His only acting credit ever. I also have some other fun facts. In the real Top Gun school, you're fined $5 anytime you quote the movie, because they don't want you to. Yeah.
I thought the military
Well, they made the movie, but like, No, in the flight
Interesting.
school, they're mad because people kept doing it.
That'd be
they
so
started
funny
charging.
though.
This was also Tom Cruise's first extremely high-grossing film. This is the first time on my data sheet that this film was the number one grossing film of the year. He has a few of these movies, but this is the first time that happened. The highest he had made it before this was Risky Business, which landed at the 10 spot. This film was also the first time Tom Cruise ever rode a motorcycle. He learned how to ride a motorcycle in the parking lot of a motorcycle dealership because he had to ride one for the movie. And he rode a motorcycle in like every movie after.
Yeah.
Because that's one of his trademarks. I was so surprised when I found that out. I was sure he knew how to do it already.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And I thought I had seen him do it in an earlier movie, but I guess not. So this was the first time he ever rode a motorcycle. And then I found in Brazil, it had an interesting subtitle. I don't speak Portuguese, but this is how it's spelled. How do you pronounce that? It's
This one?
yeah, that there.
Well, Top Gun, and then Aziz Indomáveis.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It's so Aziz is like the A, like the aces. It's like
like in a deck of cards?
yeah. Oh.
Or like an
yes.
ace pilot sort of thing?
Ace pilot.
Okay.
So it's like the top pilots.
Okay. So
Yeah. So the
it's-
top pilots, they have like this nicknames like aces because it's like the deck of cards, like the ace. So it's like aces. Indomáveis is like you can't restrain them.
Okay.
It's like you can't. You can tell them what to do. They're like wild.
So everything Maverick stands for.
Exactly.
That's-
It's like
That's phenomenal.
I don't know why they felt the need to add that because it's
Right.
whatever,
That's
like,
what Top
okay,
Gun
sure.
means.
yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
just explaining it,
Yeah.
I guess.
But yeah, that was that. Yeah, in this movie, I'll go into my data. I go into my data at the very last second every episode. But I rank it by enjoyment, engagement, quality, iconography, and the Tom Cruise factor, based on like scores out of 20 for each of those.
Oh,
Giving a cumulative score out of 100. It's a unnecessarily complex system that I have. But this movie ended up with a total score of 87, which now makes it the highest ranking one. It's beating out Risky Business. Risky Business has an 82. So this is at an 87 based on how iconic I thought it was and how Tom Cruise-y I thought it was. Yeah, but that's just about all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
thanks for having me.
It was lots of fun.
Yeah, I liked
Yeah.
it.
We might need to bring you on again sometime. This was tons of fun. But y'all tune in next week. I'll be talking about his next movie, which is The Color of Money. And as always, stay gold, Pony Boy.